today I am going. Aha. All right. I had an idea and I thought maybe I'd share it with you guys and create it with you guys. My outcome of this is making a little booklet with a calendar in it, a little notepad, a pen attached, so forth. So what you're going to need obviously is a scoreboard. I'm going to start with an 8.5 by 11. And I've picked these up at the dollar store. They're $1.50. There's 80 sheets in it. It's 4 1/4 by 6 1/2. So it fits really, really good at 4 1/4, 4 1/4, 4 1/4. So, and this is at 11. So I want to leave about 1/4 of an inch on each side. So if I go right in the center of this, it would be 550. So I'm going to go 1/4 of an inch this way, which would be 5 1/4, and I'm going to go 5 3/4, and I have my binding already made up for my little booklet. Okay, and now this will fit very comfortably in here, and then we will go from there. I may cut this down a bit. I'm not sure, because we're just doing this on the fly as we go along. So now that I have that, my next thing I want to do is add a calendar. So what I did, guys, is I just went on the internet and asked for the 2020 mini calendar, and this is what I got. And I printed it out on my laser printer, and I just measured and cut it across. So it's approximately, depending on the printer, by millimeters really, so it's about the same. So I cut it down at 1 3/4 by 2 1/2, 4/8, 4 5/8. Okay, so that's 2 5/8 by 1 3/4. And I cut them all out, which was simple. I just made another line in the middle and cut it across. And I took 2 staples, stapled it on, and here we have a cute little calendar. But I want this calendar dressed up a little bit more. So we're going to do that. Now I'm going to take off the protector on this because they're all sealed up. And if you really want to cut it down, you can actually do 2 pads with, 2 little booklets with 1 pad, with 2 pads, because really there's a lot of paper in there. You could cut it in half and just make 1. But I like to do the whole thing, so I'm going to add it here. Now, do I want to add anything else? Well, let me see. I can move this up here, so I could fold this here and make a pocket. So I think I will. And that means that it'll be down at about, let me grab my full ruler here. So it'll be down approximately, okay, so I'm going to make a fold at 7 inches. Whoops, 7 inches. I'm going to bring back my scoreboard here, and at 7, I am going to score down this way. And then this gives me my little pocket on the bottom, like so. You can see that developing. Simple as that. You know, just eyeball it, measure it, do whatever you want, and you still end up with the same thing as what I'm going to have. So, as I said, 8 1/2, I scored it at 5 1/4 and 5 3/4, which gave me my little binding. And here I scored it across at 7, which gives me my little booklet. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to attach this to this. So you can use whatever glue you have. It really doesn't matter, but I have tape that is just the right size there. So I'm going to add a piece here. I'm going to add a piece here, right on the edge. And I'm going to add a piece here. And this is going to create my booklet. So, like so. What I'm using here is Stampin' Up! Cardstock, and the color here is, oh my Lord, I forgot the name of it. Some kind of, I don't know if it's Copacabana or something like that. I'm not quite familiar with all the names of all their cardstock, but it's pretty much the only cardstock that I use. Because I find for me it is I like the 80-pound weight on it because I can use it as a cover. I can use it as a cutout or anything, and it really works. Okay, so here we have it, and this is going to fit on top of here. Perfect. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add, again, you can use whatever you want. If you wish to use some wet glue, you can. I have score tape here, Suquen tape that I've purchased from Craft Swap, not Craft Swap Canada, sorry, CFC, Craft Canada Supplies, and it's an online store, and you can check it out. The owner of the store is Sandy, and Sandy is very good. And she also has a Facebook called Craft Swap Canada, and if you become a member of the Craft Swap Canada, you will end up having a percentage off on your craft supply through her store. So how much, that's quite a win-win situation, I would have to say. So added that to my thing. One of them is already done. That is perfect, just the way I want it. Now calendar, here's my little calendar. Well, I don't want to add it like that because I find I'm not really a big fan of that per se. So I want to add a little bit of finish on top, and I'm just going to go to my craft stash because I do not need a whole bunch of cardstock to add onto this. So I have some really pretty butterflies here. So, and this came from the collection of Make-A-Wish, which I purchased from Sandy, from CFC Craft Shop. There you go. I'm slowly getting it out, guys. So I'm just going to cut myself up a little piece here in order for me to be able to put a little piece on top. Now I'm just checking if I don't have any extra little pieces. Sometimes I do that. And I don't know about how you guys keep your papers, but I have, whenever I have pieces, and I know that I will eventually break them down, instead of throwing out some pieces, or sometimes you only have like a half sheet or whatever, I cut them down in 6x6s, so I always have something to start working on cards, and these are all my bits and pieces of other stuff that I've used. And in that, I have a little bit of everything, so I normally like to check to make sure that I'm not going to cut a good piece of paper for something that I could have had a little piece on the side. Okay. I don't, so here we go. I'm going to cut a little piece. I think I'm going to cut it about 1 inch. Yep, I'm going to cut that 1 inch, like so. And I'm going to add a piece of tape. First I'm going to score it, I think, just to be having a nice firm line, which I really enjoy doing. So at a 1/2 inch, I'm just going to score it all the way down. And somebody's probably yelling, Yvonne, there's too much of it. Yeah, there is. I'm going to cut it out. You're going to see. So now I'm going to add another piece of score tape, but as I said, score tape is optional. You can use if you have tape gun, you can use tape gun. If you have what else would you? If you have wet glue, you can use school glue. You can use whatever you want on these things. The better the glue, the longer it'll stay stuck. That's one proven fact by a lot of crafters. But other than that, if you want to just do a trial run, just use anything at all that you have, because really the end results will pretty much end up being the same as what I'm doing right here. So I'm just edging my calendar and trying to make it straight. It's not straight. So I'm going to try to pull it back without ripping anything. And what I really don't want to do is cover the month. So now I'm going to get a pair of scissors. Scissors right right here, and I'm just going to cut off the remainder like that, and I've had myself a little calendar ready to go. Now, where am I going to put this calendar, we all say? I think I would like it probably right on top there. I don't find it straight. It's kind of driving me bonkers, so to speak. And if it bothers me, which I only have one eye that I craft with because my other one I'm legally blind, I'm going to tell you, it's got to be bothering you guys. So yeah, well, I have added it on crooked. But that's fine. It's all fixed up. It's ready to go. And here I can add my calendar to this piece. So I'm going to add another piece of score tape to the back, like that. And remember, we're creating this together on a fly. So if you're following along, measurements are coming as we are creating. So yeah, I like this here. So I think I'm going to add it up here, because the reason I'm going to add it up here is so that it can I can free up this pocket and it won't be in the way. I think I may add another little piece on the bottom to keep the just going to add a glue dot. I think it'll make it as quick. And I wasn't going to. I hadn't thought of it, but I can see that the paper tends to want to lift. Well, I guess it's going to lift anyway, so what can I do? All right, there we go. We have our calendar ready to go. Now, anything else we want to add on? Well, of course, we want to add some decorations on here. So again, I'm going to take some, oh, this is pretty. I wonder if that would fit right there. I think it will. I am going to cut this out. And again, this is a Make-A-Wish collection, paper collection. And it was they make 10 by 12, I'm not sure, but I purchased the 6 by 6. Most of my paper, well, no, I should say half and half. Half and half of my paper stacks is 6 by 6, because I'm talking designer paper, because it's a paper that is very versatile, and you can do cards, you know, you can do some scrapbooking with it, but mostly it's so versatile that you can do just about anything that you want with it. Now, what I'm looking for, guys, is something to put behind that I would like in a color, or I should say I like sparkle, so I'm going to add a little bit of sparkle, and I think I'm going to add this gold. I really think that'll make it move, make it stand out. So out of this, I think I'm going to, okay, so we know that this is 5 1/4. So I'm going to take my good old paper bag. Now you could use a darker color a cardstock. You could use a yellow. You could use a pink, a peach. You know, bring out the colors that are in here. It wouldn't matter. That's totally up to the individual, really. How wide is this? This is 4 3/4. I think I'd like to snip it down just a bit to bring it down to 4 3/4 square. So we're going to do this part 4 3/4, everybody, and like that. And this one here we're going to cut at 5 1/4 square. 5 1/4 square. Now, if you don't have a full piece, just cut a frame. Same thing, except you'll have it hollow in the middle. You're just going to cover it up, or I'm going to cover it up anyway. All right, sorry for the glare, because it is the kind of paper. Yeah, I like that. So now I'm going to take my good old gun, my glue gun right here, advanced tape gun. And at this point, you could put, if you wanted to, you could put dimensionals and put this dimensional on the color here, but I choose to put it flat onto the base, and the reason for that is I think I want to check something out first, but I may leave it just as is. It's Excuse my hands, guys. I've been in the paper and everything else, and I'm looking. I need a really good manicure. Very manicure. Okay, so now I have it as centered as I can. I'm going to add that in the front of my piece. Now, what you want to look out for is that this part is going to be nice and solid, so you can write on this. You don't want to put anything bulky and lumpy in the back, because you won't have a flat surface. But on the front, it's less as important because you're not going to write on the cover. The cover has your calendar. It's where you're going to store your pen. And yeah, it should work out really good. What I'm doing here, guys, I'm taking in just a tad, a sliver off, maybe an eighth or whatever. And the reason I'm doing that is because, first of all, I didn't put it straight. And I didn't like the fact that there was one edge that was a little higher than the other one. So I'm just kind of eyeballing it to kind of straighten it out just a tad and make it a little bit more level. And there's nothing you can't fix in paper craft, so never worry yourself about the fact that it may not be cut straight, because you can definitely straighten it out before you attach it. Okay, so now I have it here. Now, where do I want to put it? Here, is it something that I want to add on to the center? I know for sure that I want to, one thing I know for sure is I want to raise it. So I'm going to take my good old dimensional. I love bling and dimension, and I appreciate a plain card, but I personally like it raised and bling, and I always like to put a little bit more effort. It's not that the plain cards are pretty, they're gorgeous. I'm just that kind of girl. More is more, less is less. Well, for me, I always go more. You know, it's the way it is. So I hope you've been having a great crafting time there now that the kids are back in school, for those of you who have children. I personally do not. They're all grown up. I have grandkids. But I've been having a great time giving classes. I've started my classes, and I do it twice a week. And I have a super great bunch of people. I thought it would be a great way to meet some people, because I really don't know anybody in my area where we moved. So I thought, you know, so if any of you are interested in doing stuff like that, it's simple. Just all I did was make up an ad and a flyer, and I added it in our community. I just cut my fingers with the scissors. I want to make sure I don't put any blood on it. Yeah, I added it at a grocery store, on the billboard, and so forth, and I end up getting a response. So yeah, and I love it because, you know, I like sharing my ideas a lot, as a matter of fact, and I love to see people create, and it's just, you know, and I'm making friends, so it's a win-win situation for sure, for sure, for sure. Now, which one? Make-A-Wish. Should I do that? Or should I put, always believe something wonderful is about to happen, make your own magic? That's something I would like to put down. I think that's all I have, really. Yeah. Do I want to do that there in the middle? I know I have a cutting die that has a fairy on it. Just one moment. I'll be right back. I'll see what I can find in my stash. I found what I was looking and more. Found my stamp set, which is Make-A-Wish, and I do have the cutting die with it. This came in a magazine from Australia, and I believe it was stamping. If you look at Craft Stash, you'll see what I'm saying, the European magazines. I really like it, and I believe this is where this comes from. I could be wrong, but I believe that set comes from there. And I'm using the Misty because I wanted to have a good firm black, and my black ink right now is starting to get down, although I have a few more on order to come in. Should be coming in early this week, I hope. And so I have to really do it 2-3 times in order to have a nice dark image, which is what I prefer. So this one here says Make a Wish. Now I'm going to take just a punch, just a round punch that I have, something not too big because I want to add it into the center here. And I am going to just punch it out with my punch. And hopefully it's not going to be too big. No, it's going to fit perfectly. And this is my Sizzix punch. Nope, my EK punch, I should say. And I'm going to tell you, I believe it's 1.5 inches. Okay, just in case you're interested to know. My Misty, the best buy I could have ever done. I love my Misty. I only have the miniature. I've never really had the real desire that I needed a bigger one. But so far, I really like it. Okay, now I'm taking another punch out because I want to, I'm just thinking, let's see, 1 3/8, 1 1/4, too much. I think 2 might be too much, but I'm going to try, and I'm going to cut out another piece of that gold that I have in the background, and I'm going to punch a 2-inch hole. I'm creating on the fly, which means that I'm just creating as I'm seeing. So I've got a nice piece here. I'm just going to cut a 2-inch circle, just because I thought of it. And that's another 2-inch from EK, my 2 punches. Put those away. If it's something EK has, or I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, so you could, if you wanted to, give me a shout, and I can get you some from Stampin' Up! Mine are old. I've had them for a long time, but Stampin' Up! Has some really good ones too. So let's go by. I just became a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator recently because I love their cardstock. I really do. And I thought, well, if I'm going to give classes, and I'd like to offer the girls the same thing that I do, the same thing that I use. And for me, the cardstock is, I've been using it, my gosh, I've been doing 15 years. Yeah, at least, forget now. Okay, so I'm just going to add that to the center, like that, with love. So that is the front of my so-called book. I'd like to have something here. What am I going to put? I'm not too sure. I do have stamps that go with that. But you know what? I have this piece right here. I think I'm going to cut out a slice, which would be, how long do I have here? Okay, so I'm going to cut out 1 inch by 5 1/4, I believe. 1 inch by 5 1/4. And, oops, my knees. All right, let's try this. And let's try 1 inch of this. 1 inch, 1 1/4 of this. I'll do 1 1/4. Hopefully it won't be too much. I don't want it to butt itself onto the other one, so I'm going to cut this back to 3/4. I'm going to cut it to 1 inch. Instead of 1 1/4 inches, I'm going to cut 1/4 inch off. And this one here, I'm going to go 3/4 inch. And you'll see visually why in a second. It's this is how I operate anyway. I do things like this, and I like it to fit like so. So I'm going to add my gold here, and I'm going to give it a cut at 5 1/4 long. So I'm going to go 5 1/4. And this one here, I'm going to go at 5. There you go. That's how quick that goes. And then I'm just going to use my Scotch Advanced glider tape. I love my glider tape. I wasn't quite sure I would enjoy it as much as I did, but I should say. But I really enjoy it. I used to use a Tombow tape guns. They're the little tiny tape things. And oh my goodness, it's costing me a fortune because I was using so much, especially when I do a journal. I can use a full roll or 2 of those by the time I'm done. So, and what I'm doing now, guys, I'm just going to add the other one on top. So I thought, well, I got to try to figure out a way to make it more economical. So I purchased this. It was on sale. And as all of you know, you usually get two rolls of tape with it. I have never had a regret. Make sure that your image is pointing the right way too when you put it down. In other words, your butterflies are if they're going every direction, it doesn't matter. But if it has a direction, kind of good to have it facing the right direction. I say that because I talk by experience. You know, it's happened to me. It has happened to me. Oops, not too far. From working away from the camera to show you guys, I tend to struggle sometimes with the placement. There you go. Now, isn't that adorable? Holy moly, I like that. I really do. So now I have my booklet, and now I have my inside, and I have my little pocket. I'd like to add a little trimming since I have some left over here, because the same color here, I can't really tell what color, where my pocket starts. So I'm going to, that little sliver I cut off of the gold, I'm just going to add it. I can see it myself. Add it to the edge of the pocket so I know where my pocket is. So I'm just going to take my scissors and cut it at the fold here. So then I know, and I have another little sliver here now. Is that something I want to add to the bottom? Sure, why not? It looks good. So now I'm going to take my gun and I'm just going to follow this one to the edge. Like that. And then I'm going to add this one just slightly on top where the tape is. That. Like that. Like that. And again, I'm going to cut off the edges. Like that. Now, what else could we put in there? A bookmark would be nice, wouldn't it? A pen. I do have pens. Let's see. How about this? There's purple in there. You know that. How about a nice little gold pen? These are miniature. I bought at the dollar, or Dollarama. I think they're adorable, very adorable. And with this, it's sparkly gold. So if I wanted to be a little decorative, I could actually roll this up. And I believe I'd be using some two-way tape for this, just because I'd like to have it nice and snug. Make sure it doesn't come off, because when we work with our fingers, right, it tends to, we tend to have grease on our fingers and stuff, just natural oils, and it might come off. So this way here, it'll be a little sturdier, huh? Have you guys started your Christmas shopping or Christmas cards and stuff? I have in my class. This last week we did, we made a Christmas card, Christmas tag, and we did a Halloween card. But this week we're going to do a couple of scrapbooking pages, card, and I'm not quite decided. We might even do this. I'm not sure. So right on the edge here, where the clip is, I'm just going to add this to add a little bit of flair that will match the card. And what I did here, I'll just pull up with my finger the little nub there that you can, I have such stubby fingers that it makes it sometimes a little tricky to work with. But yeah, it's if you have a difficulty, that's no problem. Just don't put it where the clip is. Put it underneath where. There you go. Now we got it. I don't know if this clip. Yeah, okay. What I'm looking for is my pick. Can't find my pick. Cannot find my pick. So I'm going to use my X-Acto knife, which works really well. Just make sure that the blade is, if you're not comfortable, make sure the blade is away from you, not towards you. And this is usually not like hard to put in. I'm just complicating things here by not being able to lift my little thing. There you go. I like that. That works. And there's your pen. So what do I want to do with this? That I'm not sure. Do I want to? What do I want, guys? I'm there. What do I want? Okay, I'm going to cut a little piece of this, and I'm just going to cut with my scissors. You can cut it with your machine if you feel more comfortable. And I'm going to fold it this way, and I'm going to add some score tape, but not all the way, because I'm going to make a little loop here, and the loop is for my pen. And I have way too much here, but I'm just going to, I'll cut it down to size when I manage to put my things together. Are you following me what I'm doing? See what I'm doing here? I'm just making a loop big enough so that my pen can either slide through, which is possible. Just make a bigger loop here. Slide your pen in, and then you can leave it as such. So I'm going to do this, and you can leave your pen in the center, so when you do close your book, you don't have a lip, you don't have like a bump, if that makes sense what I'm saying. So I'm going to put another piece of tape in the back like that, and I'm going to slide this underneath my pad here. And the reason I'm doing that is I don't want it to show, and I want my pen to sit in the center slot right there. So I'm going to sit my pen down like that, and then I'm going to add like so. And then we have our pens that are sitting inside. It's not hurting anything. You want your pen, you just pull it out. And mine has a little rubber here to hold the pen, so that's why that it's kind of it's not a struggle by all means, but it just gets a little stuck right in there. So for those of you who have maybe pens like that and find that to be a nuisance, as long as your loop here doesn't rip very easily, you could put your clip onto that alone. There we have it. Now I want to make it, I'm going to make a little bookmark. And I think I'm going to make it out of this because it's so stinking cute. So I need another piece for the back. I like my bookmarks to be sturdy. I don't like it to be flimsy, and in order for me to do that, I'm going to, as you can tell, guys, you can do it two ways, actually. You could, and all I'm doing is using, so far I've used 2 pieces of designer paper 6x6, and I've used a piece of that gold paper that I picked up at the dollar store, by the way, and that's all I've used so far. So you can, in an 8.5 by 11 piece of solid cardstock. Whoops, sorry guys. You can tell it's not an expensive project to do, and it's adorable. It's really sweet. Now, once you've done this part, you can, like, the sky's the limit. You can leave it just as is, which makes you a nice little bookmark. Or, in my case, I can cut out another piece of of gold here. And I can embellish it with that so it'll match the rest. And by doing that, and this is how I do most of my stuff. I just exactly like what I have right here. I call it winging it, which means that what happens on a fly, whatever happens as I'm creating, the inspiration that I get as I'm moving along is how I end up making my embellishments and cards and whatever else. I really like that. So this is all you need is faith and trust. Now I'm going to add another one on top to balance it off. So by doing this, following me, you can see, I'm hoping, this is what I'm hoping out of you guys, is that by following me, you'll get the idea of, oh, this is where she gets her idea. Oh, that is what, oh, okay. Because as a beginner, when you start, you know, don't ever put yourself down that you can't do it, because everybody and anybody can do what I'm doing right here. It's a matter of just putting things together, you know, and it's fun. It's easy. For me, it's very therapeutical. I really, really enjoy it. I've been doing it for years, and now that I'm retired, I'm down here and I don't sell my stuff or anything. I come down here and I spend a good 8 hours, if sometimes 10, depending if we have anything family-wise that's happening, because I just think I just like it. I just find it very, very, very relaxing. Now, you know what I'm looking for, guys? I'm looking for an idea. I want to put a little tab on that. I do have a tab right here, and I think maybe I'll punch two of them out. One, and another one is two. Oop, that's not going to be long enough. Let me try it again. One. I purchased this at, I believe this one here came from Hobby Lobby when I went to the States. It was on clearance. No, it was on clearance at Joann's, as a matter of fact. In the States, I paid, I think it was $3 or something for it. It was on clearance, and unfortunately, we don't have clearance like that. I think Michael's seems to have the monopoly of our craft, and unfortunately it doesn't make it to our advantage or to help us, because they can price things. And at one time coupons were fun, because you could go in and if there was something you wanted, you just collect coupons and go pick it up. Now everything, most of their stuff is value, price, and value means you can't use a coupon. So I don't know what's up with that, but I think they're just hurting themselves more than anything else. I'm very disappointed, but grateful, I guess, in one way that we do have one, or I have access to one real close. Well, not real close, it's an hour away, but I really, guys, avoid it at all costs. I'll buy online before I buy there, because I can get it cheaper online, which is normally the opposite, right? Brick and mortar stores are the ones that usually you get better buys, but not me. Nope. So I like that. I do like that. I'm going to make a little hole, just a little punch here. Let's see. I'm going to add it right there. I have to add some kind of piece of ribbon or ropes and twine. See what I have here. Would I have anything in the same color? I doubt it. But I do have strings. Don't think that's, yeah, that's real good. Perfect. I keep so many different ribbons, pieces, bits and pieces, and I do it exactly for that reason, because you just never know. Never know, something like this. And then you have it. I'm looking at that tag. Should I add another little piece there of gold? Or do you think that's enough? What would you guys do? Now, You can leave it that as is, or if you wanted to, you can add, once you've looped it into your card, into your little tag here, you can make a bow, or you can cut it shorter. It's my fingers here that I have a hard time to pick up. There. Nope, I missed it again. Tying yourself a pair of shoes. I was so proud the first time I was able to tie my shoes. Such a big accomplishment. I remember those. Now the kids all have Velcro. Not a lot of them have tie shoes. Some do. Yeah, I like that. So this is what I'm going to do for here. And there's my little bookmark right there. Now how stinking cute is that? You can bring it one step further than that if you have an ink that matches or close to it. Let me see. I have Lost Lagoon, and I believe that could be Lost Lagoon. It is Lost Lagoon. So I wasn't even aware. And that's because I am it's because I'm totally wrapped up in doing it one step at a time. So I'm going to take my sponge. I'm going to put a new one in because I'm not sure what color I have on there. It looks like a blue more than a teal. So this is Stampin' Up! Lost Lagoon. I've had this, like, again, for a long time. I don't have a lot of the latest colors because once you have so many colors, you can always mix and match from there. I'm not a kind of person that has to have everything. I like to make what I have work. But I have to admit, I hoard stuff too. But I just do so much different paper crafts that I'm not only doing cards, I'm not only doing scrapbooking pages. I do all kinds of different things. See how this just kind of gives it a little bit of a lift, and it's going to be the same thing for the inside. Now, if this was planned ahead of time, I would have probably did this before I dressed up the whole thing. But as I said, the way I do my little playful little things, there you go. Now this is wonderful to give to a friend, a coworker, the lady delivers your mail, anybody and everybody that you know would appreciate this. And what did it cost you? It cost you $1.25 for the pad, I believe it was, or maybe $1.50, I'm not sure. $1.50 for the pad, a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, a little pen. I got 8 for $1, I think it was. And I didn't even use a full page of 6 by 6. This one here is a full page. I shouldn't say that. One page 6 by 6, one butterfly page 6 by 6, and one 6 by 6 metallic paper that I got at the dollar store, our Dollarama store, cut out a little with a stamp. Hello, you know, best wishes. And as a matter of fact, I have this butterfly left over. I believe I'm going to add that to the back. I do not like to add bulk to the back, but I don't mind adding this since I have it. And I think I'm going to add, I think with that, I'm going to add, so this is square. This would look nice there. I'm going to grab another piece of that gold. And what's my sizing here? My sizing here is 4.5. 4.5, 4 3/4. So I'm going to go 5, about 4 3/4. Like that. And then I'm just going to add, I hope I'm staying on frame here. I know some of my videos are a little longer than normal, than, you know, when I go in details like this, but, you know, save it and do it, make it a little bit at a time, watch it a little bit at a time. For some of you who are experienced crafters, you don't even have to follow. You see this and you know exactly where to go with it. But for those of you who are not you're newer to crafting and you do better by following directions, just do a little bit of time, stop your video, go back, do a little bit more, stop your video, and then you eventually what you're going to do is you're going to end up creating a style of your own, because everybody's got a style, and if some people like simplicity, but still likes to make stuff. Some people like shabby chic. Some people like, I'm going to make sure that my pattern goes the right way. There's always something, and it's a lot of fun. Okay, we are done. Go on to the next project. So this is my little tutorial for you today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I truly have enjoyed making it for you. And remember, a couple of dollars. You give that to a hostess. Christmas is coming up. You're going to have get-togethers, whatever. Anybody loves to have this next to their phone or bring with their agenda. Whatever. This is Yvonne. And I'm going to sign off for now. But you guys have yourself a wonderful day. But most importantly in life, be happy. Catch you later for some more. Ciao.